That's not good. Police are there to protect and serve. Now, criminals should be afraid of the police, but not the common people, okay? So what they did is they backed way down on they eliminated the broken window policy, went way down on giving out tickets for not having bells and horns on bikes and busted taillights, that kind of stuff. So basically, they backed off of the people, and crime went down. In fact, violent crime went down some 40% after 2012. What they do now in Camden, New Jersey, if you have a new cop in the neighborhood that gets hired, he goes and knocks on the door of the residents in the neighborhood that he's going to serve. And they introduce themselves. They give them their card. They ask how they can help. They ask, what are the problems? What should I look for? How can I help you? They hold barbecues in the street. They man a Mr. Softy ice cream truck to give ice cream to the kids. The broken windows policy in Camden, New Jersey, popular belief says, was a bad policy. The kinder, gentler policy was a good policy, according to the people in Camden, New Jersey, the community leaders, okay? Police are there to protect and serve. The average resident should not fear the police. Think about that. In Camden, New Jersey, the average resident feared the police. Now, if that statement is true, one of two things is going on. Either the police are doing something very wrong, or the average resident is a criminal. Stay with me, please, here, because I'm trying to make a point, okay? Do I think the people in Camden, New Jersey, the majority of the citizens are criminals? No. And I've said many times, many times, policemen need to be more like Andy Taylor and less like RoboCop, okay? Police should not, or the citizens should not fear the police. The broken windows policy in New York City was called a failure by many. And the reason they said it was a failure is because during the broken windows policy of policing in New York City, unemployment, which was horrible, or employment, I should say, or unemployment went way down. Employment went way up. Times got better. Times got much better during the broken window policing policy time in New York City. Okay? So basically, and that's true, by the way, that is absolutely true. So the people who don't like broken window policing policy say that better times, not better policing, and not broken window policy is what made crime go down in New York City. And maybe that's true. But what happened to unemployment and what happened to the economy after 2012? The same thing. The economy was horrible in 2008, 2010. Around 2012, it started getting better. So the economy got better and crime went down. The same thing that happened in New York City. So what I'm saying is, you can't say the broken windows police policy didn't work because times got better and the kinder, gentler police policy worked because the times got better, okay? If one worked because of this, the other worked because of that. Or maybe one worked in this community, one worked in the other, okay? There's still a huge race problem in Camden, New Jersey, however. Huge. And I read interviews by community leaders in Camden, New Jersey, okay? The Camden Police Department, according to many of the community leaders, is still too white. That was a statement made by some of the community leaders. We have a white police chief, and they admit, look, he's a good man. We like him. He marched with us during the George Floyd protests peacefully. He marched with the protesters. And he's a nice guy. But he's white, is the statement they made. Too many white cops. Camden, New Jersey is still too white. The cops are. That's what the community leaders are saying. And it makes me scratch my head. Okay? During all this turmoil, from 2010 to 2018, the mayor of Camden, New Jersey was a lady named Dana Red. She's black. The current city council in Camden, New Jersey, all black or Latino. Not a white face on the city council. Now, right now, the mayor is white right now, and he was recently elected. Unemployment in Camden is high. If you've got a black mayor and you've got a black city council, who hired all the white cops? Especially if unemployment in Camden and if all these leaders who are people of color are trying to do the best for their community, why wasn't there a push to hire more people of color as policemen? Now, one of the other statements that they say, the community leaders say, and I agree with them, is they say not enough of the white cops live in Camden, New Jersey, okay? And there's a disconnect because of the color of their skin and the fact that they're not a member of the community. And by the way, I think that second statement is legitimate. In my opinion, if you're a employee, a fireman, a policeman, a government official in a large metropolitan city, you need to live there, okay, in my opinion, okay? But if the residents want more people of color as police officers, and if all city government are people of colors, except for the mayor right now, and if a city is more than 80% people of color with low employment, then why do they hire the white ones who don't live in the city? Somebody hired them. Okay? Now consider this. Let's just say you're a white police officer in Camden, New Jersey. You're trying to truly make a difference. You are truly a good person. You stand with the protesters on the side of the people who are protesting the George Floyd killing, okay? You're a good cop. But then you're told that you're actually not good enough. And why? Because of the color of your skin. I'm going to repeat that. Consider that if you were a white police officer in Camden, New Jersey, and you were trying to make a difference, and you're a good person, you're a good cop, and you were told that you're not good enough because of the color of your skin, what would you think? Let that sink in, please. Now, one of the statements that I hear many people make, myself included, is, look, 98%, 99%, 99.9%, vast majority of the police officers out there are good. That's another statement that most everybody agrees with, okay? So that means that same number of cops in Camden, New Jersey are, but you don't want them there because of the color of their skin? That, in a nutshell, is the entire problem. If the consensus is that most cops are good, and the fact is that most cops are white, then you have an if-then statement, okay? Most white cops must be good, okay? I will say this. I've never considered being a police officer. It's not my cup of tea, okay? But if I were a cop, a good cop, and I was told I wasn't good enough because of the color of my skin, friends, I would basically say F you and I would leave. I would then sue your city. And by the way, I would win. America is the greatest country ever concocted. Anybody, and I mean anybody and everybody, can make it in this country. Nowhere else in the world offers the opportunity of America. Nobody. In fact, no place even comes close. Don't tell me Canada. Don't tell me places in Europe, because they just don't come close. Mainly because their economy is not what ours is, okay? Our economy and our freedom is the double whammy that makes success the ultimate factor of America. Nowhere else offers this opportunity. Now, are we perfect? No. No, we're not. In fact, we're not nearly perfect. But consider this. Let's turn it into a baseball scenario, because as you all like to know, or as you all do know, I like to turn things into a baseball scenario. Anything in life can be turned into a baseball scenario. With the exception of this year, of course. How many baseball games do you play a year in the regular season? 162. The goal of every team on day one is to win every game. You do understand that nobody has ever come close to winning 162 ball games in a year. I think the record is 120, something like that, okay? That means you lost 42 games. Nobody ever will win 162. They won't. In other words, as a people, we will never be perfect. Perfect season in a baseball game means you've won 162 games. No one's ever going to do that, and no one expects them to do that. Same with us as a people. We will never be perfect, but we can always be better. We're better now than we were 10 years ago. I'd like to think that. We're certainly better than we were 40 years ago, okay? You don't have to be perfect, but you still have to be better. Now, here's where my glass half full scenario comes in. America is the great melting pot, and we need to embrace our diverse demographics. I think we do, more than you think. Well, what about Sweden? Look what they do in Sweden. In Sweden, everybody's related. I mean, they're not a melting pot up there. Yeah, they got a spattering of Somalians that live up there, I think. But for the most part, they're all the same. They're all named Sven, okay? They're all blonde hair, blue eyes. They're all the same people. And there's only about 8 million of them, too. We have cities. We have many cities in this country that have more people in them than Sweden. Think about that, okay? We have such diversity in this country that it's a wonder that we get along as well as we do. Every ethnicity, every color, every opinion. We're black, we're white, we're conservative, we're liberal, we're tall, we're short, we're spendthrifts, we spend money like drunken sailors. We like to drive big cars. We like to drive little cars. We like rapid transit. And we all seem to get along. Until we have somebody on television, somebody on the radio who tries to get us riled up. I told the story a few weeks ago how my youngest son came to me and he didn't like the fact, made him feel bad that black people were saying that he was a bad person because he was white. And I asked him, who is telling you this, son? And his answer was, I said, the guys you work with, because he works with a lot of black folks where he works. He said, no, none of those guys say anything like that to me. It's the people on television. It really bothered him that somebody on television was telling him that he was a racist. And he's not, by the way. Consider this. If I were to point a finger at a person of color and say something negative about them because of the color of their skin, by definition, I would be racist. Okay? I'm going to read the definition. According to Merriam-Webster, okay, this is not according to somebody on television. This is Merriam-Webster. It's a dictionary, one of the most knowledgeable dictionaries we have in this country, in this world, in the English language, okay? Racist, the definition of racist is this: a belief that race is the primary determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. I'm going to read that again because they play with some words here. A racist, the definition of racist is the belief that race is the primary determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. In other words, you can't do this because of the color of your skin. That's what racist is. And white people don't hold a monopoly on racism. We all need to understand one another better. Statement: you don't know me.